South Africa will finally hold its AGM by no later than the 12th of June to elect a majority independent board. Cricket South Africa and the Sports Minister, Nathi Mthethwa, they've just finished their briefing following Mthethwa's decision to withdraw the decision or the gazetting of government's de-recognition of Cricket South Africa. That, of course, would mean that it would not represent the country, wouldn't be able to participate in international competitions. Well, for more on this, joined now by our sports reporter, he's been following it for us, Phila Sixaba. Phila, good afternoon to you. I mean, this is an important development, but really, it means Cricket South Africa is finally going to do what everybody wanted them to do in the first place.
Well, yeah, good afternoon, Stephen. It's actually a really good and historic day in terms of governance is concerned at Cricket South Africa. You remember that this impasse has gone on for more than 6 months between the Members' Council, which is the highest authority body at Cricket South Africa, and of course the interim board, which was appointed by the Sports Minister, Nathi Mthethwa, in trying to resolve some of the huge governance issues that plagued Cricket South Africa for a number of years. And one of those tasks was to implement the recommendations by Judge Nicholson, the retired Judge Nicholson, that was set out in 2012, which was almost 9 years ago. And one of those was to have a majority independent board, which the memorandum of incorporation has been amended to include. And of course, you rightly mentioned in the headlines, Stephen, that the AGM will take place on the 12th of June, which this majority independent board will be elected. It will comprise of 15 members, 8 of them which will be non-independent, which will be independent directors, and of course 5 will be non-independent directors, and 2 will be executive members of that board composition. So it's quite historic, and of course that board will serve an initial term of 3 years before it's reduced from 15 to 13, which is in line with some of the governance strategies and the governance protocols that are more of modern day acceptance. So really, really big news coming out from Cricket South Africa, Stephen.
And I mean, this goes back years and years. I mean, we're talking, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago, all of this happened, was supposed to be sorted out. The issue, as I understood it, was that when Cricket South Africa, when the board basically finally held their meeting to decide all of this, they were able to vote in secret, and some of the representatives, not enough of them, voted in favor of an independent board. And that's the problem, the issue of a secret vote when someone is actually representing a province of cricket. Are they absolutely convinced the same thing's not going to happen again?
Well, I think that's one of the things that are going to be interesting come the 12th of June, Stephen, whether the voting ballot will be open or remain secret. I know the special general meeting which took place over the weekend was quite chaotic in terms of how the voting process itself had occurred. A lot of the people wanted to have an open ballot, and a lot of some of the members, council members, wanted it to be a secret ballot. And I think that's what really caused a lot of the impasses that we've seen in recent weeks and, of course, recent months at Cricket South Africa that almost brought cricket and the organization to its knees. So it's one of the things that Minister Mthethwa will definitely be keeping an eye on, whether the voting process will be fair and transparent so that this board can be elected and, of course, drive Cricket South Africa to a new path and hopefully a path of success also.
Nathi Mthethwa, the minister, how would you assess or examine his role here? I mean, he doesn't have a great time on Twitter. He's often called the minister of all sorts of things. And yet, what he seems to have done quite successfully is use pressure, sort of the legal pressure through the office that he holds, to use pressure to actually force cricket to do what really I think everybody does want it to do. He's done that quite successfully.
I think so, Stephen, and I think he's bided his time in terms of how he's handled the whole situation. I mean, he could have imposed Section 13 on Cricket South Africa of the Sports Act quite a long time ago, but he gave them the benefit of the doubt, gave them the time to really resolve the issues between the interim board and, of course, the members' council. And I think it was quite strategic on his end to let things really sort themselves out, but also not giving away too much leeway in terms of how and when the situation was going to be nipped in the bud. And I think for him to be able to impose or threaten Section 13 on Cricket South Africa was probably the last straw, and wanted to really close out this matter as soon as possible. And I think that he's done it in a very effective way, in a very commanding way, in how he's dealt with the issues at Cricket South Africa. Still very much a long way from finished, Stephen. As you rightly mentioned, that annual general meeting on the 12th of June is going to be of critical importance. The voting process for a chairman that can only come from the 8 independent directors is going to be crucial. Who assumes those positions? Who gets elected into the executive? It's still going to be playing out into the public space quite a lot, and it's going to be something that Minister Nathi Mthethwa is going to have to keep his finger on the pulse on until the very end.
And then, let's talk about what's really important, cricket on the field. It's been disastrous off the field, hasn't been great on the field. One hopes if you get things off the field sorted out, things on the field will improve.
That's definitely the hope, Stephen. I think a lot of the cricketers also feel the pressure from the boardroom shenanigans that go on. A lot of the confidence they draw from good governance structures. They know that they can trust that their futures are being taken care of from a governance point of view, from an administrative point of view, and it'll give them a sense of relief now. I know the Players Association has been heavily involved in this situation, also in terms of keeping the players abreast with all the developments that have been happening at boardroom level. And hopefully one can really hope that once this situation is sort of blown over, that the results on the field can really produce some really good cricket. There's important ICC major events that are coming up, including the ICC T20 World Cup a little bit later on this year in India, which I think a lot of people are still going to be keeping an eye on in terms of if it's going to be held, considering the high number of COVID-19 cases that are coming out of India. So it's a crucial period for cricket in South Africa, not only on the boardroom side, but also on the field. Can they really get back to the former glories of reaching to the #1 spot on the ICC Test rankings? We've really won some wonderful series away and home against some of the best and biggest names in international cricket, like Australia. So it's going to be crucial, and hopefully this sort of resolution can give the players some sort of confidence to really perform on the field and win some trophies for South Africa.
Phila Sixaba, thanks very much indeed. Really do appreciate the time. It's an important series of developments around sport, around cricket, around governance, around also the Minister of Sport, Nathi Mthethwa.